Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Renaissance, and today I am finally getting around to my response video to Mr. Nefarious Wes. As you may know, he put out a video not too long ago about 3 retro games that he did not grow up with, and several people in the community have come out with their response videos with their choices, so I'm here to share mine with you. If you missed his video, I'll put a link down in the description so you can check it out. And with that, without further ado, let's check out my choices. 3 retro games I did not grow up with. Or as how I like to think about this, 3 games that I love that I have no nostalgia for. Let's begin. A few years after I rekindled my love of the NES and started gaming again, a good friend of mine asked if I had ever played Little Nemo. I said no, and that I didn't think I had even heard of it. He insisted I try it out. So I went online, checked it out, and it seemed like it had potential, being a Capcom game and all. So I took the chance, and man am I glad I did. I was immediately swarmed with feelings of nostalgia for a game that I had never even played, due to its adorable story, cute sprites, and a soundtrack that hints of childhood innocence and adventure. The gameplay is your standard Capcom power-up fare, but done in a very creative and clever way. Instead of gaining different abilities through defeating your enemies like in a Mega Man game, for example, you coerce, to put it mildly, different animals you encounter into allowing Nemo to get a ride on, or even sometimes in, their bodies. A bit alarming, sure, but this is a fantasy dream world after all, and Nemo is a very imaginative little boy. For the first 7 levels of the game, Nemo offers up his endless supply of candy to these helper friends to gain their assistance in jumping higher, climbing walls, fitting through tight spaces, and even flying, all in an effort to locate the necessary number of keys to open the locks at the end of each level in order to move on to the next. After these first charming 7 stages, however, things get serious, as you're plunged into Nightmare Land, fraught with boss fights, trickier platforming, and a noticeably darker mood. This is where the game really tests your skills and makes you earn the victory. Little Nemo offers retro gamers a seriously good time and a very fun challenge, and it's easily one of my favorites on the system. I can't imagine how I'd feel about this game if I had nostalgia for it on top of everything else. If you have never played it, you must make it the next game you try. Just prepare for some frustration, especially if you try to no-death it.
No! Oh my god, no! Hijo de puta madre, ese puto juego, man, no mames.
The day I realized that there were NES games sold on eBay was a very exciting, albeit dangerous day. I spent many nights typing in NES games and researching all of the titles I'd never played as a kid. One such game was NES Open Tournament Golf. I played a lot of golf as a kid and still have very fond memories of those days. So when I saw this golf game with Mario on it, I figured I'd give it a shot, as it could be fun. And oh, is it fun! A very quick game to pick up with very solid and simple controls, this game is a blast. But what really sets it apart are all the different features and game modes. From choosing the clubs in your bag, checking your stats, tallying your prize money, watching your Hall of Fame shots, or eyeing up the competition in the tournament roster, this game offers so much even before playing. And as for playing, you can choose several different modes of play. Simple stroke play for practice, match play against one of the 5 opponents offered, each one putting up a tougher challenge than their predecessor, tournaments, either against the entire field, or you can compete in a ladder-like tournament to face the gauntlet of the same 5 characters mentioned before. That last guy's no joke, by the way. Or you can even practice certain holes on any of the courses. Sadly, there are only 3 to choose from, but given how many features this game has, it'll keep you entertained for a long time and have you coming back for more quite often. I should also mention that the music is just what you'd expect from a Nintendo golf game. Fun, upbeat, and even a bit silly, and is sure to put a smile on your face, even when you duck-hooked your drive into the drink. It was another scandalous late-night eBay session that brought me to the third game on this list. That game is Solstice. With a sports game like NES Open Golf, you can basically know what you're getting yourself into, but this time I was really taking a risk, choosing to buy a game based solely on its cover art. It had a wizard and a castle, and hey, I was feeling spontaneous. Plus, it was cheap, so I decided to bite the bullet. What arrived in the mail was a very pleasant surprise. If you've watched my channel at all, you're probably well aware that I love when a game has an interesting setting, and also when it has puzzle-based gameplay. Solstice offers both of these things, and much more. In this unique isometric puzzle platformer, you play as the handsome wizard Shaddix, who must traverse the rooms in the fortress of Castle Rock in search of the 6 pieces of a staff, the only item you can use to murder the bad guy, who, by the way, has stolen your girl and is going to sacrifice her on the winter solstice, so there's no time to waste. Gameplay is based around manipulating the environments in each room to aid your character in reaching certain items, or just making certain jumps to proceed. One example of this is how you can pick up an item, then jump off of it in mid-air to either jump higher or farther. This is a tricky mechanic to get down at first, but once mastered it's incredibly fun, and many rooms, especially toward the end of the game, were programmed to test your skills at this. With practice, you'll be able to see Shaddix to the end of this fun and challenging game, and blasting your foe with your newly assembled staff is so satisfying that it's well worth all of your efforts.